Who's up first? The mayor?
Been mayor 3 terms, they still can't spell my name right. Good morning, everybody. What a cheery, effervescent crowd, and I can tell I just want you to know the anticipation will be well worth the wait. And we are so honored to have the Premier here, along with Minister Flack and our all-star Minister Kevin Holland, as well as, is the first time here? MPP Mohammed Ferrin. So, first of all, acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe First Nation, signatory to the Robinson Superior, and Treaty of 1850, and acknowledging the history of the Métis, First Nations, and Inuit people. So it is a good morning indeed, and this is going to be a most exciting announcement for our community. So I think that the task force that we set, the goals that we established, you know, with my council members here today, can everybody wave? Because a bunch of you, Rajni, wave now, good, okay. So, okay, we have a quorum, so we're going to pass this and make it unanimous. The fact that, again, we've exceeded our goals for our provincial housing targets is due to the fact that not only do we have a unified, strong, and focused council, but that our building and housing community is solidly on board behind the provincial initiatives. Premier, I can't tell you what a Zoom this has been for our community, and it really, the uptake, the enthusiasm, clearly I'm going off script, but what we've done in terms of removing barriers, improving the process, you know, the professional planners here in our development section, the building community, the uptake has just been quite exceptional. So, and you can't do that unless you have a focused province with focused goals, and that allows the municipalities to line up and be part of the team. And who benefits? Not only all of Ontario, not only all of Thunder Bay, but all of Canada. So, Premier and your team, I just have to say welcome, and please know how very grateful we are.
We're grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor. Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we make this exciting announcement for the City of Thunder Bay. I'm so pleased to be here with our great Premier, Doug Ford, the Honourable Doug Ford, as well as my colleagues, Honourable Rob Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and PA Mohammed Ferrin, and of course His Worship Mayor Ken Boshcoff, someone who I've had the privilege of working with for a few decades. So it's always great to come to the City of Thunder Bay and acknowledge that friendship and that spirit of cooperation we have. And of course, I would like also to welcome all the members of City Council that have joined us here today. I'm so happy to be joined by my colleagues to congratulate the City of Thunder Bay on this remarkable achievement. Through the leadership of Mayor Boshcoff, Thunder Bay has not only met, but exceeded its provincially assigned housing targets for 2024. Today's announcement will help the City to continue building the critical infrastructure needed to support the construction of homes and meet the needs of working families, contributing to economic growth across our region. You know, Thunder Bay is showing what is possible when we all work together towards a common goal. And this investment is about more than just bricks and mortars. It's about strengthening communities, supporting local jobs, and helping more people achieve the dream of home ownership. I want to sincerely thank Mayor Boshcoff, the Mayor's Task Force on Housing, and everyone at Development Services for their dedication and vision. Your work is making a real difference. Let's continue to build the future of Thunder Bay together. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Honourable Rob Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Obviously, a great honor to be back in Thunder Bay. I believe, Premier, it was, I think, 13 months ago we were in this exact chamber making an announcement like we are today, so it only stands to reason you folks are doing a fantastic job in terms of getting more homes built faster, and that's what we're here to talk about. And Mayor, all the best for a speedy recovery. You're a good man. You've become a good friend and a great partner to this province as we get the job done. As I think everybody knows, our government has ambitious goals to build more homes right across this province, faster and smarter. And we're privileged to have you, Mayor, and Council, and all of Thunder Bay as part of this journey. It's wonderful to be here today alongside my friend and colleague, Minister Holland. We share a rather warped sense of humor. I think we call it sarcasm. Most people think we're fighting all the time, but we're not. We're just having good old fun. But he's a tireless advocate for this region, for this riding, for this city, and don't get in the way when he wants something for Thunder Bay. So well done, Kevin. And obviously, MPP Mohammed Fern, who is here from a neighbouring riding to the Premier's, who's up here on committee this week and doing a great job as a new MPP elected just back in February. And of course, welcome, Premier. Thank you for making the trip north. We all know, folks, we're in the midst of a housing crisis, not only in this province but throughout Canada. And as you know, our provincial population has doubled and grown significantly, and housing starts have not kept pace. This we all know. We're a population now of 16 million people, double from when I was in high school, and I'll steal the Premier's line quickly. He'll say that was back in the Great Depression. It wasn't, I promise you, I'm younger than that. But, you know, and as a result, costs have risen to the point where families, first-time home buyers and seniors are being priced out of the housing market. We see it every day. Our government recognizes this, and it's a reality that has to change. And that's why we introduced the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund in 2023, to reward municipalities that lead by example, like Thunder Bay, when it comes to cutting red tape and creating the conditions to get homes built. Governments don't build homes. How home builders do. We're creating the conditions to get that done. That's why we are rewarding municipalities who get homes built with the community home builders, because we know that you cannot build homes without water access, roads, sidewalks, sewer systems, and more. Critical housing infrastructure is so important and obviously necessary to get more homes built faster, and that's exactly what this $1.2 billion investment to our communities is all about. However, we're not just stopping there. Recently, in the last session of the legislature, the Bill 17, Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, received royal assent. It's a great piece of legislation, if you don't mind me saying so. It has a very comprehensive piece of legislation that will increase certainty for home builders and reduce the time it takes to get shovels in the ground. It's a significant step in the right direction, creating the conditions home builders need to do what they do best. And I see Scott Anderson over there with the Ontario Home Builders Association. They were critical in helping bring this legislation forward, along with AMO and along with BUILD. So great stakeholder commitment and involvement, and that's how you get things done. But the stark reality is that it takes too long and it costs too much to build homes in Ontario. We are changing that fact. Our goal is simple: to ensure more people can own their own piece of Ontario, their own piece of Canada. It is the quintessential Canadian dream for countless hardworking families right across our province, and it should be attainable. Alongside my colleagues, industry and municipal partners like Mayor Boshcoff and his team here today, we will make the dream of home ownership come true for thousands of Ontario families. We know that building more homes means better lives, stronger communities, and a brighter future for the people right across this province. So thank you very much for your attendance today. We've got a great announcement. It's now my pleasure to introduce the greatest Premier Ontario's ever had, and that's Premier Ford.
Well, first of all, hello, everyone. You know something? As soon as I get off the plane, boom, there's Persians. And that's it. And I eat Persians every, three Persians a day when I'm here. And now you look at my big gut, it's just going to grow even bigger. But I'll tell you, it's just so great to be back here in beautiful Thunder Bay, especially for today's announcement. And I know you just were introduced a few times, but we have our great PA friend. I call him Mo. He's a champ, and you know, we have something special here. We have the mayor, which is super special. That we're good pals, and he's just a fine man. But Minister Holland too. You know, I think you set a record. Last time I was here, you had 100 and how many ministers up here visits?
We're at 131 now.
131. I can tell you, out of 444 municipalities, there's no one that's had 131 ministers come up and visit, and I feel like I've been up here about 130 times myself, which is great. We always bring good news and big checks, and of course, Minister Flack, we call him Flacky, and he's amazing. But I want to thank you, Mayor, for hosting us, and I just want to thank him and the city's municipal leadership and the city council and the staff. I know I was a city councillor, and I've walked a mile in your shoes, and nothing happens without cooperation through, first of all, staff and council and the mayor. So I just want to thank you for your continued partnership and helping our government protect Ontario and build for the future. Folks, we all know this is a serious time for our province and our country. With President Trump taking direct aim at our economy, his goal is to take every single business out of our country, out of our province, and bring it down to the U.S. But I'll tell you, I will fight like I've never fought before, and we're going to continue fighting against President Trump and his radical views. I better stop there because I'll get on a rant. And I'll just tell you, our government is doing everything in its power to cut red tape and make Ontario and Canada the strongest economy in the G7. Our government has a plan to protect Ontario. And I always say our job is not only protect Ontario, but protect communities, protect families, protect jobs and businesses. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And I will not spare a penny to make sure we do it. We were going to protect Ontario from President Trump's tariffs by building a province that is more competitive, more resilient, and more self-reliant. As part of that plan, we're increasing our historic plan to build Ontario to more than $200 billion in infrastructure. That includes investments like roads, highways, transit, hospitals, schools, and more homes. Here in Thunder Bay, we're expanding Highway 1117, and I got good news, Mayor and Kevin. They said they had 64 kilometers completed. They have another 16 kilometers left that will be done this fall, which is great news because we've been wanting to do this for a long time. From 2 to 4 lanes between Thunder Bay and Nipigon to make sure this stretch of highway can keep up with the demand, and most importantly, to keep it safe. Everything in our province needs can be built right here in Ontario by Ontario workers. To support local manufacturing jobs, we're investing nearly $500 million to refurbish 181 GO Transit bi-level rail coaches at the Alstom plant here in Thunder Bay. Sorry. We're also providing $758 million to purchase 55 new subway cars for Toronto, and we're pushing hard for Alstom to build these too. And I say we're pushing hard because we're pushing the federal and municipal governments as well. Ontario tax dollars should support Ontario workers. So I'm urging the City of Toronto, and the federal government to reach a deal with Alstom. There's no way we're building them anywhere else. And I see my friend back there with a big smile on his face. These made in Ontario rail cars are a big deal in Northern Ontario. Do you know what it does, folks? It gives people certainty. It gives people certainty at Alstom, and then all the trickle-down jobs that come from that, and everything from people going to a small restaurant or buying stuff, it spreads throughout the community. So we're going to make sure that happens one way or another. They're a big deal, as I said, in Northern Ontario, while helping to deliver faster, better public transit for Southern Ontario. It's a no-brainer in my opinion, and that's not all. We're building and upgrading hospitals, including the Thunder Bay Regional Health Science Centre, by providing over $93 million to build a new cardiovascular surgery program and up to $9.3 million for better cancer treatment. We're connecting more people in northwestern Ontario to life-saving care closer to home. And of course, we're making record investments to get shovels in the ground faster for new homes, including a total investment of more than $18 million in projects across Thunder Bay to enable the construction of more than 1,260 new homes through the Housing Enabling Water System Fund and the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program. Today, I'm here with even more good news. 2 years ago, our government established the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund to encourage municipalities to speed up approvals, issue permits, and get shovels in the ground faster. Municipalities that hit at least 80% of their target will receive funding through this program, with money that can be used for housing and community infrastructure so we can get even more homes built in the years to come. Today, I'm delighted to announce, you guys are champions, I have to tell you. Look at these numbers. I'm delighted to announce that Thunder Bay beat its target. You hammered your target. You knocked it out of the park. That ball's still going, achieving 143% of its housing target in 2024. And again, I just want to thank the whole team here in Thunder Bay for making that happen. And you'll receive $880,000 through the Building Faster Fund. And I just want to congratulate the mayor, the council, the staff, the community for their leadership in helping get more homes built. You know something? He's an absolute champion, the mayor, and so is everyone at the City of Thunder Bay. And I'm just so pleased to be able to work with them. I hope that this money will be used to help get even more homes built so I can come back next year with even a bigger check, a larger check. And I just want to thank you all for being here today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. So congratulations, everyone. That's good.
We will now open the floor for questions from the media. Please come to the microphone and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Morning, Premier. Sarah Law, CBC Thunder Bay.
Hi, Sarah.
It's been a bad wildfire season in northwestern Ontario. We know several communities have gone through evacuations. What's your plan to address firefighter and pilot shortages and provide more compensation to those on the front lines?
Well, first of all, I actually just got briefed on this. We have 640 some odd firefighters out in the field right now. They told me they have close to 70 helicopters and water bombers. We have more water bombers on order in de Havilland. There's a 4-year wait, but we have a fair fleet of water bombers. I believe it's 8. I'll double check these numbers, just going off the top of my head. But we're putting every single resource we can and making sure that we know this is going to happen every single year, and we have to continue training more firefighters. I just want to give a shout out to the firefighters. It's one thing to fight fires in a city; it's a whole other game when you're up in the north and you're fighting these massive fires. And it's, as you know, it's happening to our neighbors in Saskatchewan and Manitoba and across the country. So when we were at the Council of Federation last week in Muskoka, this came up that we need a national fire strategy because we know when the floods are coming, we know when the fires are coming, and we need to be prepared. So I'll do anything for our great firefighters and invest as much as we can to make sure that we have the equipment to knock out these fires as quickly as they can come. But I've also told that, which is really disturbing, I'm sure it's disturbing for everyone to hear this, some of these are careless man-made fires, and they take off, and that's unfortunate. And hopefully, people use their common sense, because the problems that happen is just catastrophic.
Thank you. My follow-up question, now that Ontario's Starlink contract has been cancelled, what's your plan to make sure remote First Nations have reliable access to internet connectivity?
So I'm talking to the other big companies, the Rogers and the Bells. I had meetings with them actually last week and saying, hey, we got to get moving on this. And it's unfortunate we had to cancel that, but I can't deal with a guy that, well, I guess the divorce happened between him and Trump, but the guy was attacking our country, and I just couldn't do it. So we're going to continue working to make sure that they have reliable broadband internet service as quickly as we can.
Good morning, Premier. James Murray, Net News Ledger.
Hi, James.
We have a great announcement that came in yesterday in Kenora
Yes.
for a project on sex trafficking because of the combination of all the factors in Kenora that we have here in Thunder Bay as well. When can we expect a similar announcement for our city?
Well, first of all, I give the credit to Greg Rickford, and I know Kevin, you'll be working on that, and we'll do that as quickly as possible because it's a serious issue, right? So we'll be jumping on it.
My follow-up is this morning, Highway 17 is closed again due to an accident. I appreciate the work that's being done.
Yeah.
But one of the things, if you ever come from Winnipeg heading into Ontario, you're on the divided highway. You hit Ontario and it's now going to be better coming into Kenora. But why don't we make a national dream in Ontario that will create jobs for generations and divide the highway right across the province?
I love the idea. I absolutely love it. So we're spending $200 billion on infrastructure, spending a fortune on roads and highways. I think it's up to $35 billion. But I'm all in, and I want to make sure our highways are safe. It's treacherous, especially not just here, but also down by. Have you ever went from Sudbury down to the city, like that 2-lane? That was like white knuckled driving down there, and like it transport's off by 2 inches, and you're done. So we made an agreement with 3 First Nations communities. We've bought their piece of property, so we're going to be twinning that, which we made the announcement. So we're going to get that done. My goal is to make sure our highways are safe. And, a message to the people in the city, you have no clue until you come up to the north and you drive in the winter. And we drove all through the north during the election. Snow was coming down. We had a pretty heavy winter. It's terrifying. So until you see it firsthand, you can't appreciate it. But we'll do everything we can to make sure we get that fulfilled. Because I know Rickford's been on to me nonstop, and we'll get that done.
Penny Robinson, T-Bay Newswatch.
Thanks, Penny.
Thunder Bay DSAB is advocating for the streamlining of landlord and tenant board hearings.
Yeah, so we went out and we've hired 77 adjudicators and trying to keep a balance. And we have the toughest laws in the country when it comes to protecting tenants. But folks, I got to be honest with you, the pendulum has swung the other way now. There's some people that just aren't paying their rent. And do you know what I feel terrible for? I feel terrible for the mom and pop people that want to have another investment, so they go out and they buy an apartment, right? And they try to rent it out or buy a house. And I get endless calls weekly on my cell phone saying, these guys aren't moving out. And then some people try to extort these poor landlords saying, well, if you want me out, buy me out for 50 grand. It's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. So we're working on that through the Attorney General's office, and we have to just make it fair. If you go in there, you got to pay rent. You just have to. And if you're falling hard times, you got to talk to the landlord. You can't try to extort these people. And a lot of people, by the way, that buy that investment property, they're losing it now because they can't keep up with their mortgage. So it's just not fair. I always, I put in the toughest laws to protect tenants. But like I said, that pendulum has swung now, and people are taking advantage of it, and it's unfortunate. So we're going to work on that. We are working on it, actually. I'm all over the Attorney General about this.
Follow-up question on Bill 10 and how will that affect community housings within the region?
Well, I'm going to hand that over to my great minister because he understands all the housing better than anyone does.
So specifically, you're asking what about Bill 10?
Yes. And how will it affect community housing within the region, getting tenants out and evicting and holding them accountable?
So again, as the Premier said, the Attorney General is looking into this. That is not what the legislation was meant to be. It's meant to protect our landlords as well. But I would say this, when you take a look at our whole housing continuum, the big thing we're facing is a shortage, right? So if we can get supply up, and I'm going to be meeting with the area home builders here today, as I've been meeting throughout the province, we have to get supply up. That's why we're creating the conditions through Bill 17. Look at the bill in detail. I know you don't have development charges here, but we're lowering the costs, the time it takes to get a home built. And whether that's supportive housing or that's market-based housing, the whole housing continuum is in that process. So when we get our supply up, and that we will, you'll see that roofs over people's heads are going to solve a lot of problems. Right now, the shortage is causing these problems.
Jessica Clement from TBT News. City Council has set a designated truck route that will divert over 3,000 transport trucks onto highway or expressway. Previously, the province promised to upgrade the expressway. Is there any update to that?
Well, I'm going to pass it over to Kevin. Any update, my friend?
So we've been working with the city with regards to the DTR, and long before I was elected as a provincial representative, it was something that I, as a mayor of a neighboring community, worked on quite extensively. So for the upgrades to the city of Thunder Bay, there's a requirement for the city on an arterial road that needs to be finished first. So we will be continuing to have those discussions with the city of Thunder Bay. I've raised the issue with Minister Sarkaria at Transportation, and we're going to work towards a resolution. Just on the DTR, it's well known that I'm not supportive of the DTR. I think it's going to create a lot more traffic congestion and more safety concerns, not just in the region, but in particular, as you mentioned, on the expressway. So I'd really like to work with the communities that are impacted on this so that we can bring together a concrete, effective plan to deal with highway and truck safety within the city of Thunder Bay and the region.
So again, everyone's done? We're good?
One last reporter.
Okay, no problem.
Mr. Premier, Chris Kettnan with CBC Thunder Bay as well.
Hi, Chris.
Going back to your comments earlier about President Trump and the trade war, do you think it's possible for Canada to get a deal with Trump that doesn't include tariffs on certain sectors like auto, steel, aluminum, and energy? And would you be satisfied with a sectoral tariff deal?
Well, great question. You know, it's a problem with President Trump. And, you know, we're united. First of all, I've never seen this country more united, ever, in all my years of being in politics, and it's a great feeling, all provinces, territories, municipalities, and the federal government. But, you know, Prime Minister Carney's trying his best, but this guy will say something one day, and he'll wake up, and the cheese slips off the cracker, and then all of a sudden he goes the other way. And you're thinking, how do you deal with a guy like this? Are we hoping that we can get a deal with zero tariffs? Yes. But I always say how we can kick back, and it's not the American people, kick back at President Trump, is let's start onshoring everything, absolutely everything we possibly can. Like I-beams, those big steel I-beams. I didn't realize we don't make them here until found out during the trade deal. Or the rails that are beautiful, our cars are going to be made, sorry, the street cars are going to be made down the street. We don't make the rails, so we need to start making rails. And start making sure that we make those steel I-beams and aluminum cans. Now, aluminum cans are my favorite. The Coke, the Pepsis, all the other beverages, the Molsons, the Labatt's, the craft brewers, we're the kings of aluminum in Quebec. They ship the aluminum down, 25% tariff. They get printed and formed, 25% back tariffs. So my question was, why aren't we making aluminum cans here? Now, we're going to be making aluminum cans. They're going to lose $1 billion worth of business in the U.S. And same with tin cans from DeFasco. Ship it down to the U.S. They get formed. I had a meeting with the big users of the tins. Now we're bringing a line up here. And they're going to be losing out on about 1.3 billion cans just on the tin cans. But we can build anything here. We're an economic powerhouse. You know, folks, we don't have to take a back seat to anyone in the world, and we sure the heck don't have to take a back seat to President Trump. He needs to remember, yes, they're our number one customer, but we're their number one customer. You hear about all these deals he's making, and they're good countries, Japan and Korea. But I'll give you an example. With Japan, he said he made this beautiful deal and everything, and God bless him. But they buy $79 billion worth of products, U.S., off of the U.S. Canada buys $359 billion U.S. off the folks south of the border. 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce a widget or a good just for Ontario alone. Those 9 million jobs are in jeopardy right now. We buy more products off the U.S. than Japan, Korea, China, the UK, and France combined. So I wouldn't roll over, and I've told the Prime Minister, do not roll over, hit that guy back as hard as we possibly can, and that's what we need to do. And we can do it. We can build anything here in Canada, absolutely anything. From the beautiful trains that we build here, to the planes, to automobiles, to satellites, to jet engines, and the list could go on and on and on. And our strength are the people. We have the brightest people anywhere in the world right here in Ontario. So when everyone goes out, another very powerful tool are the people of Canada. When you go out and you go to buy a product, just flip it around the back and see where it's manufactured. And buy Canadian when you can, anything possible. And I got to call one company out that I learned when I was, just 2 days ago, I met with all these tin can users and their food products. You know, is a company called Campbell's Soup. They told me that Campbell's Soup's putting a Canadian flag on their cans. They closed their plants here. They moved everything down to the U.S. and they put recipe made in Canada. What sort of nonsense is that? Don't let them hoodwink you. I'm going to call them out again. I'm going to show you one of their cans. It's unacceptable that they do that. You know, don't try to pull one over people's eyes. Canadians are too smart for that. So please, when you go shopping, I know it's not always possible, buy Canadian as much as you can. So we're going to win this thing. You know, one way or another. We're going to go down and we're going to roll over. We'll keep fighting every single day. So thank you for getting me ramped up like this.
This concludes all the questions for today.
Okay, thanks so much, everyone, and God bless you. Thank you.